Alright, how's everybody doing today? I thought it'd be beneficial to discuss why we train the way we train, and the science behind it, and I think understanding why good trainers use similar approaches is important for long-term success at home, because if you get lost, if you're struggling understanding how to curb a behavior or encourage a different behavior, I find that it's helpful to look back on the actual laws and principles of why we're doing what we're doing, instead of just feeling like we're guessing, right? You guys have invested a lot into everyone that's here, and I wouldn't want you to come out from this with any mysteries as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, and there's no point in safeguarding anything from you guys that I think could be really helpful. I like to be very transparent as a trainer, so I like to go into a lot of detail, and that's why instead of just getting general updates, you get these long, hopefully not too boring lectures, because I really want you guys to understand what's happening here and why it's happening certain ways, right? Okay, so the principle that I want to talk about, which is the main principle for dog training, is operant conditioning, okay? If you have a trainer, I hope I'm your trainer for life, but if not, situations change or you move, whatever happens, and you get yourself another trainer, if they cannot articulate to you what operant conditioning means, get yourself another trainer. It's one of the main principles of dog training, and if it's not understood, I feel like it can't be used properly, and people can get lost and confused, and start to play guessing games a little too much, right? Instead of just understanding a science and applying a science. Okay, so what is it? Operant conditioning. Maybe some of you guys have heard of it. Maybe you remember it from school. Maybe you apply it. Maybe you use it to some capacity. It can work on anything, not just dogs. It's a learning theory that revolves around the idea that dogs learn best, animals learn best under a series of applied consequences, okay? So there's 4 quadrants, they're called, to operant conditioning. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? The top quadrants are the reinforcements. The bottom quadrants are the punishments, okay? When you look at the top, since they're reinforcements, it's R plus, R minus. Since they're punishments, P plus, P minus, okay? The 4 quadrants themselves are, some I'm sure you've heard, some might sound a little confusing, but I'll explain every one. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment, okay? It's that simple. Positives over here, negatives over here. But again, it's reinforcements on top, punishments on bottoms. Positive, negative. What are they? Positive reinforcement, okay? If a trainer doesn't revolve around using positive reinforcement, they're not a very good trainer. Positive reinforcement keeps dogs motivated and encouraged. It's definitely the highest percentage of what we utilize in terms of all 4 quadrants, okay? Some quadrants we don't really utilize at all, or to a minute degree, but we want to focus on positive reinforcement. We found that has the highest success rate. It has the most consistent results. It keeps dogs motivated and encouraged. You get better results that way. It shows stronger long-term long-term patterns, and reliability. So we focus mainly on positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement means adding something to increase the frequency of a behavior. Negative reinforcement, as you can figure out since we're doing just science-based plus and minus, removing something to increase the frequency of a behavior. When it's reinforcement, whether we're adding something or taking it away, we're still increasing the behavior. And when you go down to the bottom, in the P categories, positive punishment, adding something to decrease the frequency of the behavior. Negative punishment, removing something to decrease the frequency of a behavior. In my mind, when I'm working, I'm constantly in a milieu of jumping from quadrant to quadrant in order to shape your dogs, my dogs, into being the best canine companions they can be. Obviously, as I said, we're focusing mainly on positive reinforcement. Okay, a dog does something good, I give them a treat to increase that good thing they did. Negative reinforcement. A dog is in an uncomfortable situation. What are you doing? You see him over there? Sorry. Negative reinforcement. That could just be, a dog does really good with a tether test, right? Or a dog does really good in a crate. Does really well. Excuse me. I did study English, right? Does good things in a crate or with the tether test. We can remove that tether or that restriction then to increase, right, the frequency of their good behavior. Now when we go down to the corrective side of things, positive punishment, adding something to decrease the frequency of the behavior. So your dog is barking and whining in the crate and you use a little compressed air, you spray that, you're adding in the compressed air to decrease the frequency of their behavior. In that case, a bad behavior, whining, barking, whatever they're doing. Negative punishment. Negative punishment is taking something away to decrease the behavior. So, let's see. Let's say your dog is out playing in a situation much like this, and they react poorly over a toy. I would remove the dog from the situation, like remove them from whatever they guarded, whatever resource, toy, water, food, whatever. Remove them from that resource to decrease their guarding of the resource, right? Those are just 4 quick examples. There's tons of examples, but we're always needing to rely on some form of operant conditioning when we're working. If we don't have a firm grasp on that, like I said in the beginning, it's just a lot of guesswork, right? So again, operant conditioning, made famous by American psychologist B.F. Skinner. He's a sharp dude. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment, right? Positive reinforcement, adding something to increase the frequency of a behavior. Hey, watch it. Negative reinforcement, removing something to increase the frequency of behavior. Positive punishment, adding something to decrease frequency of the behavior. Negative punishment, removing something to decrease the frequency of the behavior. If you really spend some time thinking about those 4 principles, it's really easy to just observe dogs and see what situation they're in and what would best aid them in that learning process, right? What consequence is best going to continue shaping your dog? Consequence not meaning all bad. There are positive consequences more than there are negative, right? You want to be more positive than negative. I think I got a clicker somewhere. There we go. Everyone's listening to my lecture nicely and playing. Get a big old scatter feed sesh. Every day I'm scatter feeding. Every day we're working on not guarding resources. So which quadrant is this right now? Take a second to think about it. I'm adding something, right? Positive reinforcement. I'm adding food to increase the frequency of their good behavior, not guarding the food. If they turned and started to guard it, I could go to which consequence or negative consequence sides, which P sides, which punishment sides. I could either, verbally interrupt and say, hey, enough, if they start to guard something, right? So that's adding in the disruptor, adding in the noise or adding in the compressed air to decrease the frequency of their behavior. So that would be what? Positive punishment. Or they act not kosher over the food. I can remove them from the situation because they behaved poorly. That would be what? Negative punishment. Because I want to decrease the fact that they guarded the food. Nobody did guard any food. So we can just add positive on positive on positive, right? I can positively reinforce the fact that they did well behaviorally with the first exercise by just, continuing to reward everyone. Good job, good job, good job. Keep it moving, keep it rolling, okay? Keep cycling through those patterns. Try and really understand what you're doing, what you're communicating to your dog. You don't want to be guessing when we go back home. The biggest, time for error is right in that 72 hours when the dogs go back home, because that's a big freak out time. People make a lot of mistakes during that time. They maybe make mistakes because they're trying to overcompensate, and they often don't ask enough questions. So whenever anyone's getting ready to go home, question, get them prepared, ask them now, send them in the messages, get them written up for when I show up for the exit sessions. Just be prepared. You can never ask me too many questions. I would be shocked to find that day. So hope that makes sense to everyone. Study up. Got a bunch of champs here. Doing well. Got a little best friend alert. Here. 2 tan pitties. But yeah, BF Skinner was a cool guy. Let me know if you got any questions, guys.